Hi ladies, it's Carrie from down in Texas, and I'm going to do a little different video today. And the reason for that is I've had a lot of ladies who are in their mid-20s reach out to me and ask me about becoming my own boss and having my own business, and talk about the challenges associated with that. And so I'm going to do that while I do my makeup today, because I think one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself every single day to help you be confident and successful in everything you do is to apply your makeup. I just think that it's a huge confidence builder every day, and so I do some sort of makeup every day. So all right, so what I've done so far, I'm going to try to do a lot of this without my glasses on too, so I'm going to link all of the products at the end of the video so you know what I'm using, so I don't have to keep taking my glasses on and off, because that's annoying and I would be annoyed too. So, but in the beginning, let's just put these on, and I want to tell you I've done my skin prep. I've washed my face, I've moisturized my face, I have put a pretty heavy moisturizer on it today. I'm having some pretty dry spots on it, and I've done my brows because they are just so hard for me. And I just wanted to remind you, I just use this product. It's a great stamping product for you. So let's get started. All right, so why did I decide to be my own boss and open my own business? Well, when I was in college, I worked for a State Farm agent, and I just loved her. She was so inspiring, and she had such a great work ethic, and she taught me so much about being a business owner and being good at what she did. And I worked for her for about 18 months or so when I was in college, and right after I got married. My husband was finishing up his degree, and of course I needed to find a job, and so I was lucky enough to get with this lady. And I just fell in love with the insurance industry because it truly is one of those industries that can change people's lives and affect them pretty substantially if it's done right. And what I mean by that is making sure that I got a burn down there, remember, making sure that you're doing what you should be doing for each client individually and not just the same. It has to be very, very specific. And so I just loved her. She taught me so much, and I fell in love. And so I have always been in this industry. I, over the course of my career, have worked for just about every popular, if you would, insurance company, you know, the ones that we all know, the neighborhood type ones. Plus I worked in the commercial industry, and then I worked for a membership association, and I just loved it because I loved the interaction between myself and the clients. So when I was in Arizona and I was trying to find a job, I came across another agent who was an independent agent, and the difference between the two was pretty dramatic. What I mean by the two is the difference between a State Farm agency and a independent agency was pretty dramatic, because the independent agent had so many other choices for his clients, and he didn't lose many clients because he had all these choices for carriers and so forth. So it was a great learning experience. And I spent the better part of the 90s working for other insurance companies and other insurance agents. And so I really did hone my skills. I learned an awful lot. I worked with great business owners, and I got to see really the right way to be an agent, the right way to be a business owner, and all of the kind of steps in between, if you will, of being a successful insurance agency owner. And at this time, you know, my first child was born in '86, and then I have a stepdaughter who was born in '87, and then my youngest son was born in '93, and so I took 5 years off when my youngest child was born, because my husband and I really wanted that experience of me being at home with the kids and not having to spend so much money on childcare. And so I stayed home until my youngest son was 6. During that period, I also worked for the Australian government. In Houston, I was a visa officer, and I loved that job. I learned so much about being able to identify things with people and their personality, and that was a huge tool for me that I still use today. So my husband and I, we were married in Houston. We lived in Houston for the first 6 years of our marriage. Then we moved to Arizona. We were there for 11. Then we moved up to North Texas, and we were there for 8 years. And then our two older kids got engaged and married, and they were in Houston, and they started having grandkids. And I looked at my husband, and I'm like, oh, I can't be 5 hours away from my grandkids. There's just no way. It's going to drive me crazy not to be able to be close to them and enjoy, you know, their company on a regular basis. So my husband was transferred back to the Houston area, and so we moved back. Now, when we moved up to the North Texas region, my youngest son was in high school. He was a senior, and I was working for a very, very large State Farm agent, and you know, doing what I normally do, making lots of money for somebody else, and I had a nice job. But I just was not, I was tired of depending on somebody else for my livelihood, and I knew deep down that I could do it. I had great experiences watching my dad. My dad was a professional golfer, and so my entire growing up years, I watched him and his ability to, if you will, have his own business. He was self-employed, and so I just had lots and lots of really great role models. And so when my youngest son was a senior in high school, I was approached by Allstate, and they were interested in me opening my own insurance agency. And I was like, wow, that would be such a great opportunity for me. Wow, should I do it? And it took me probably a good 6 or 7 months to do all my research to determine, how much money I was going to need, what it was going to take for me to build out an office and go through the training with Allstate, and how much money I was going to need. And you have to go through a process when you do that. You have to be approved, if you will, by these insurance companies. And so I went through that process, and to my total surprise, and I don't really know why I feel this way, I guess it's just a little bit of the insecurities that we all have, I was very surprised when they came back and said that I had met all the criteria to have my own agency, and if I was ready, I could go ahead and sign a contract and go through the training program. And the training program was about 2 full months in town and out of town. You have to go to the Chicago office for all your contractual signing and all of that kind of stuff. So I did it, and I took the plunge, and I was scared to death, because I didn't want to put my family in financial stress, if you will, but I also knew that I was never ever going to get ahead working for somebody else, and that what I really needed to do was just go out on my own. And the timing was perfect because my youngest son was going off to college, and I just knew that when I made the decision that it was going to be a lot of long hours, that it was going to be a long process, and that I had to say to myself right off the bat, you can't expect to be completely and totally successful and in the black for 3 to 5 years. That's the standard. And so my husband and I talked about it, and I made the decision. Was it the right decision for me? Oh my goodness, absolutely. Is it scary and terrifying? Absolutely. But you can do it, and you just have to make a commitment to yourself to get a really good game plan together, have your support system in place. That's huge, guys, and you've got to have a good support system. Whether you're single or married, you still have to have a good support system to be successful, and to have that support system in the times where it gets tough. And you know, I'm not going to lie to you, it gets tough. Being a business owner is not an easy proposition. You've got staffing, and you've got financials, and you've got just a whole gamut of things that you're responsible for. But if you have a game plan, and if you put your game plan, for me, I had to put it on paper so I could see where I needed to be, put my goals down, put the things that I thought could potentially cause me a problem down, and be prepared for them, and talk about them with your support mechanism, whether that be from your company or from your spouse or whoever, your partner. And that was really important. So I could look down the road and see, you know, this is coming. I did a lot of research, but you can do it. You really, really can do it. And I want to encourage you, if you are at any age, if you're in the process of going through a transition and you are not happy at what you're doing, and you feel like you can control your own destiny by owning your own company, oh my gosh, do it. It's the most gratifying, exciting, terrifying, rewarding thing to do, to have this entity. It's sort of like having a child, and you mold it, and you watch it, and it grows, and it has setbacks and injuries, but you control it, and you control your ability to take a vacation with your family or with your husband or whatever. And I would totally recommend it. I would just tell you that you've got to be organized, and you've got to be realistic. It's not going to be, and it's not going to happen, you know, overnight. But it can happen with hard work and determination. And don't, you know, life can change on a dime. We all know that, and tomorrow is never promised to us. And if you are at that precipice in your life where you need a change, and you feel the change is to take control of your career, then absolutely don't not do it because you're afraid, or because you think that the obstacles are going to be too great. You know, the obstacles are going to be there, guys, but it is something that you can get through. Just make sure that you have a support system in place. Make sure you've done your homework. Make sure that you are realistic that you set your goals, and that you follow through with them, and make the commitment to yourself. That is huge. Just a second, I dropped something. If you're gonna do it, you have to make the commitment to yourself, and you have to stick with it. You can't just go half into it and not commit 100%, because if you don't commit 100%, then you're really wasting your time, right? I mean, I believe that in everything. If you're not going to be make a commitment to whatever that decision is that you've just made, then how can you possibly expect to be successful? You have to commit, and you have to be willing to be adaptable and be willing to change when you need it. So if something's not working and you can see that it's not working, then you need to take the steps to step back and reassess the situation, and then make whatever changes you need to make that you think are going to be the solution to whatever the challenge may be. And I know I'm talking a lot in generalities here, but the main thing that I'm trying to get across here is that life is too short. We all know that. And if you have an opportunity to do something that you've always wanted to do, a dream or a goal, don't just let that go by because you're afraid. Fear is a great motivator, a great motivator. If you use it correctly and you challenge and you get a hold of that fear and you harness it, it can be such a wonderful tool to help you be successful. It's also a great tool to help you be not conservative, but to be cautious of the decisions that you're making and not to just jump into it. You know, right now I'm 60 years old. I know that I've still got probably 15 years of my career ahead of me due to some financial things that happened early on in our career, in my marriage. But my husband and I are working really hard together, and we are getting to where we need to go. Life is there's never a guarantee in your life, and it's our responsibility to just harness what we can and make the best of what we can, moving forward every day, staying positive every day. And I just am a big believer that if you do that, life is going to reward you for your determination and your honesty and your commitment. My family has not suffered because of my decisions. Yes, it was hard on them at some points, but my children have been so incredibly supportive of me. My kids are doing great. They've got great jobs. They're happy. 2 are married with my 3 beautiful grandchildren. And my youngest son is so supportive. He helps me. This entire building that you're looking at behind me is where I house my 2 businesses. And my youngest son and my husband basically built this for me so I could have a permanent place where I didn't have to pay commercial rent. That was an inspiring, calm, and wonderful place to do my job. I love coming here because it is me and I feel comfortable, and that's also a really big part of my decisions is knowing that I'm going to be happy and comfortable. Because if you're happy and comfortable in what you're doing, guys, you're going to be successful. I've always felt that. So, you know, the end game here is, would I make the same decisions that I made and own my own business? Yes. You know, is it still a challenge for me? Yes. Do I still need support and help from people in my life to make sure that I'm going to continue to be successful? Yes. But doing this on my own and having two successful businesses has just been probably the second greatest experience of my life. Being married with children is the first, and then having my own business is the second. It's just so incredibly rewarding, and I would totally and wholeheartedly encourage you, if that's what you are looking for in your life, go for it. Don't wait. Life's too short. We only get one gig here, and we've got to make the most of it and be happy. And so that's kind of why I decided to do what I do. I'm an independent insurance agent. I love that. I love the interaction with my clients. I also own a wonderful little DIY company that is designed to help people do things on a DIY basis so they can save money. That's also a hugely rewarding entity. I love the fact that you can go in and see something and know that you want to make the changes, and then do it yourself is just so gratifying. And so if I can help others do that through videos and through design consultation fees, then that's why I opened Carrie's Corner. So the two businesses are Carrie's Corner and KDS Insurance Services, and I am extremely blessed to have both of them. Something else I wanted to just talk to you a little bit today about. You know, I'm in Texas, and we are in the middle of an absolutely horrible heat wave. We're actually under a heat advisory, a heat warning again today. We're supposed to be 100 degrees or more again today. It's very, very scary when it gets this hot down here. And so wanted to talk to you a little bit about a trick that I have with my makeup. You know, I'm 60 years old, and I am extremely blessed to have such beautiful skin, and I've worked really hard at it my whole life to make sure that I do have beautiful skin. But when you live in this kind of environment with the humidity, it's very, very hard to get your makeup to last. Obviously, it's like walking into a sauna, right? So it's very hard to get your makeup to stay for the full day. And so what I learned many years ago, when I was a model working in Houston, take your regular loose powder. This is Laura Mercier's powder, and you take your full amount of this powder, you dump it into some sort of plastic container, and then you come back in with this container and you refill this container with baby powder. You mix it all together in the plastic container, and you use that as your setting powder. Put it back in here. So I take Laura Mercier's loose powder, and I use the same amount of baby powder, put it into a plastic container, and then I put all of that, enough to fill this container back up, and this is what I use for my setting powder. And you would be astonished at how well it seals your makeup for during the day. Now, it does, obviously, because it's baby powder and loose powder, it's going to give you that matte finish. But I like that matte finish personally, and having a matte finish in very humid conditions is, I think it's important, because I don't find the real shiny look very flattering. I think it just looks like you're hot and oily, and so try it. It's great for your skin. The baby powder absorbs the oil in your skin. It keeps your complexion and your overall appearance fresh. And if during the day I see that it starts to get a little oily, I just take my powder puff and I put it back in there every so lightly, and I just dab on my face where I see that I've got some oil coming in for the heat. And you would be astonished at how well that does, and how what a remarkable job that it does to keep your makeup fresh and clean through the day. So guys, I hope that this has answered your questions. If it hasn't answered your questions and you still need some more clarification, or you still have more questions about you know, your decision to go as a self-employed person, then you know, I would love to talk to you. It's a big decision, guys, and you really got to do your homework and be prepared, because along the way you're going to have challenges. Along the way you're going to have setbacks. But that's life, right? Life's not easy. There's no guarantees. And so go for it. Life's too short to not reach for the stars. And as women, we have to encourage each other to do the same. Not saying that men don't help us, you know, don't jump on me for that. I'm just saying that it's a challenge to be a woman in our world today. It's a challenge to be a wife and a mother and a business owner and be successful and have good health and all of the things that we look at when we are trying to determine if we're successful. But we can, and if I can give you some of my knowledge and experience to help you, can't think of a more rewarding opportunity than to help somebody make a decision that's going to ultimately change their life and help them be successful. That's what this channel is all about. Successfully having it all. It can be done. You can do it. I'm doing it. So let's make sure that we take the steps together to make sure that we are all successfully having it all. Have a wonderful weekend, guys. Stay safe. Please take a few minutes, leave me a comment, like and subscribe. Hit that bell so you know the next time that I post a video. Give me a thumbs up if you would, and I will see you next week. It's Friday. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.